different forms for you, singular, dual, or plural. If a language has different forms for you, formal or informal, singular, dual, or plural, how should the translator decide which form is correct in each context? Here we will discuss the differences between singular, dual, and plural. To learn about the formal and informal forms, be sure to review that section on the Forms of You page. The word singular means one of, or single. The word dual means two. The word plural means many of, or multiple. Some languages, like English, have only one word for you, regardless of how many people are being spoken to. English speakers can refer to one person as you, or to many people as you. Often the context will make it clear as to whether the word you refers to one person or more than one. Some languages have more than one word for you, depending on how many people are being spoken to. If they are speaking to one person, they use the singular form of you. If they are speaking to more than one person, they use the plural form of you. Some languages even have a dual form for speaking to two people, and some even have other forms for speaking to 3 or 4 people. Note that for many languages, the decision about what form of the pronoun to use will also affect the form of the verb associated with it, even in cases where the word you is not expressed, for example, when a command is given. The Bible was first written in the Hebrew and Greek languages. These languages both have a singular form of you and a plural form of you. When reading the Bible in a language that does not have distinct singular and plural forms of you, the context will often make it clear whether the word you is intended to refer to one person, to 2 people, or to more than 2 people. Here are some examples of you in the singular form from the Bible. When these verses were first written in the Greek language, the singular form of you was used because it was only referring to one person. Luke chapter 18, verses 21 and 22. He said, "I have observed all these things from my youth up." When Jesus heard this, he said to him, "You still lack one thing. Sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me." Note that even though the English does not have singular and plural forms of you, the context indicates that this word you here only refers to one person. The man had just told Jesus, "I have observed these things," and Jesus responded with you, referring only to that one man. Acts chapter 12, verse 8. Then the angel said to him, "Put on your clothes and sandals." And Peter did so. "Wrap your cloak around you and follow me," the angel told him. The context makes it clear that the angel is addressing one person, so the singular form of you would be used here in languages that make that distinction. The verbs put on and wrap would also need the singular form of you. Here are some examples from the Bible where the word you refers to 2 people. Languages that have a dual form for the word you would use the dual form in these verses. Mark chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. And James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came up to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." And Jesus said to them, "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus is asking the 2, James and John, what they want him to do for them. Mark chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. Jesus sent 2 of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here." The context makes it clear that Jesus is addressing 2 persons, so the dual form of you would be used here in languages that make that distinction. Here, the verbs go and untie would also need the dual form of you. In instructional text, the you is often plural since it is addressing a wide audience. Here is an example. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 17. Since you call on a Father who judges each man's work impartially, live your lives as strangers here in reverent fear. However, sometimes the instruction is addressed to one person, so the singular form of you would be used. The context will make that clear. This often happens in a letter. For example, Titus chapter 1, verses 2 and 5, and chapter 2, verse 1. To Titus, my true son in our common faith. The reason I left you in Crete was that you might straighten out what was left unfinished and appoint elders in every town as I directed you. You must teach what is in accord with sound doctrine. Also in 1 Timothy is an example of instruction that is addressed to one person. Verse 18 in chapter 1 says, "Timothy, my son, I give you this instruction in keeping with the prophecies once made about you, so that by following them you may fight the good fight." Sometimes instructional texts can be either singular or plural, especially when a general principle is being taught. In the following passages, when Jesus spoke to a group of people, he taught general principles that apply to individual people, so the word you or your could be singular. Try it both ways and choose what sounds most natural in your language. Let us look at a couple of examples. Luke chapter 11, verse 34. Your eye is the lamp of your body. When your eyes are good, your whole body is also full of light. But when they are bad, your body also is full of darkness. Some languages that distinguish between singular and plural forms of you would use the singular form because each person has his own eyes and body and does not share his eyes and body with others. But other languages might use the plural form of you because Jesus was speaking to more than one person. Luke chapter 16, verse 21. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. This could be translated, blessed are each of you, or blessed are all of you. Either one would be the correct meaning. Congratulations! You should be able to identify when the word you refers to one person and when it refers to more than one. And if your language has forms of you that are marked for singular, dual, and plural, you should be able to determine when to use each one. To learn about formal and informal, be sure to review the page titled Different Forms of You, Formal or Informal.